There it goes. There it goes. Okay, well, let's get going.
Okay, it's over to me, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so before I show my presentation, just maybe by show of hands or signals, whatever, how many people have heard of Bird Friendly City? Let's see. Couple for sure.
If you go into reactions at the bottom,
Yeah,
there's a place to raise your hand.
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
So, okay. And how many are on a bird friendly bird team? Like an actual team that's working on Bird Friendly City? I see one for sure. Okay, good. That gives me an idea what I'm dealing with. That's good. So I'm just going to share this presentation.
mm-hmm. There it is.
Okay, everybody see that?
Looks good to me.
Okay. So I've been giving presentations to a number of groups, mostly service groups or interested people about Sarnia Bird Friendly City. And so this is just another one of those. And the question I was asking 2 years ago was, are we a bird friendly city? And I still ask that, even though we're well down the track. So um, I'm going to talk a little bit about the Nature Canada Bird Friendly City program, what their Nature Canada's vision is, what's the program, how do you get certified, and what is our experience, and then how could you be involved in the whole bird friendly city process. So the background, of course, many of you have probably seen these graphs that are based on data collected in the last 5 or 10 years, which all talk about the decline in bird populations, particularly aerial insectivores, grassland birds, and shorebirds. And some other species like waterfowl and birds of prey are a little bit different trend, but the bottom line is it's 2.9 billion birds, more or less, in North America disappeared since 1970. And that's about a 30% decline, with some of the main reasons being habitat loss, window collisions, cat predations, pesticide use, insect declines, and of course, many others. And Nature Canada's approach is, hey, cities have become, if not, haven't always become or been danger zones for birds. And so the time is now to act. And I always tell people, especially people that aren't very knowledgeable about birds, yes, there's 2.9 billion gone, but it doesn't mean we've gone down to zero. There's still, that would say there's still 6.8 billion left to enjoy. So it's not all bad news, but it's a precipitous decline that we need to worry about. And, birds indicate the health of other natural species. And they're a pretty obvious thing to go look at if you want to know about natural species and where are they at. But for the average person, they typically blend into our community. Many people don't even hear them or see them, or maybe they only see the usuals in the neighborhood. In Sarnia, if you see cardinals, you're seeing the usuals. On the other hand, increased awareness requires really a very small effort. People see them on the golf course or in the park. You hear bird calls on TV programs. I always tell my golfer friends, did you watch the Masters in May and hear the bird calls? Just about every golf tournament broadcast, you'll hear bird calls. And it's easy to connect with birds and to enjoy birds. Might be just binoculars, camera, phone app, and a bird book. And really, if you have binoculars or a camera and those other two, then you can really enjoy birds immensely. And talking about birds is an easy gateway to the broader biodiversity discussions. So what's going on with insects, what's going on with our climate, what's going on with plants, what is the status of native plants in our community. So birds is to me an easy gateway. Now, the Nature Canada vision for bird-friendly city is that Canadian cities and towns are safe places for birds. It's a place where key threats are mitigated, where nature is restored so native bird populations can thrive, and where residents are involved celebrating, helping, and monitoring. And the Bird Friendly City program is really acting on that vision. And it's a national campaign basically saying, let's create safer urban environments for birds to thrive. The program is really locally driven. It's a city level effort led by a local coalition, AKA the Bird Team. And they're working to make their city bird friendly. They're encouraging action and change, and they're assembling evidence to achieve bird friendly city certification. And Nature Canada provides support and resources. They provide structured template for the certification process. They provide small grants, collaboration on funding applications, publicity, strategy development, and shared experiences. But the key thing is it's a local effort. Certification is kind of like any other certification program, whether it's an ISO audit or a hospital certification, or even for a professional person, if they have certification requirements, is very similar to that. It's a standard that you have to meet. And typically that standard has a bunch of questions that you have to respond to. And so Nature Canada has established a standard to assess bird friendliness of a municipality. And basically, points are assigned for regulations, programs, and facilities in place. And if you get enough points, there's 3 levels of bird-friendly city: entry level, intermediate, and high level. And Nature Canada, as of last May, had certified 32 cities across the country, with many more in works. And I've just listed a few examples there. And it's not a one and done thing. So there's ongoing reporting and improvement to maintain certification. So if you achieve certification, then 3 years later, you're going to be resubmitting, looking to be recertified. Now, of course, the obvious question is, well, what's the criteria for this? What do you have to do? What do you have to show evidence of? And so there's 7 mandatory elements. You have to establish a bird team. You have to get municipal support. You have to have World Migratory Bird Day events. There's Indigenous engagement. You need to provide an annual report of progress, just a brief report. And there has to be some level of program visibility in your community. I show renewal of the status there, but that's just after you've been certified. That's the follow-up. And then there are 3 sections. Each section has a whole bunch of subsections. I'm not going to bore you by going through all of that stuff tonight. If you want to, you can look it up on Nature Canada and find that stuff. But the 3 sections are first around threat reduction. So how do we reduce the threats that birds have in the city, whether it's collisions, cat predation, and so on. The second section is all about habitat protection, habitat restoration, and climate resiliency. And the assumption is that if we don't have a climate resilient community, then we're probably not going to be too friendly to birds either. And then the third section is all about community outreach and education. Now, frankly, the first 2 sections require more effort by the city and the municipality. So it comes down to most of those questions come down to what is the municipal bylaw and regulations, and how do they fit or achieve the requirements for bird friendly certification. Now, frankly, the certification criteria are challenging. It requires action by the municipality, citizen groups, and it requires community engagement. And it embraces a wide range of topics and issues. And so it's not an easy thing to chew at and work on. On the other hand, you don't need to comply with every single subsection. We can focus on elements that fit with the city or that the city is already has strong bylaws on. And it's consistent with many other environmental initiatives. So, in our town, we've got a climate action team, which is doing native tree planting. It's completely consistent with what we're doing. The environmental advisory committee of the city developed a climate change action plan. Well, that's right consistent with what we need to achieve with bird friendly city certification. And not to be confused by, if you're a small community, I forget the number, but it's quite a low number. But if you're a small town or a small region, then there is actually a separate certification rubric for small towns, which makes it a little bit simpler for a small community to go through the certification criteria and achieve bird friendly status. And the other thing I would say in the fact that it's challenging is that it requires, we have a committee that I'll get to in a few minutes. We have a small committee, but that's not good enough. We really need to engage other groups and have those groups take on part of the action. Otherwise, we just can't do it as individual, as a small team. And the process, so there's 2 application windows per year in February and September. And at one of those points in time, you submit a detailed application to the Nature Canada panel that goes through all of the sections of the certification document, the application document. You fill out that document showing where you comply, where you don't. And the panel then assigns points based on evidence of compliance. And you have to achieve a certain target point level to be certified. And in each of the 3 sections, there are a minimum number of points that need to be achieved in each section. So you can't just focus on threat reduction and hope to get away with it. No, you need to be doing some work in all 3 sections and in order to qualify. So why be bird friendly and get a bird friendly certification? What value is that in the community? Nature Canada's suggestions are it's a badge of honor, it's a source of community pride. It says your city's leading on efforts to reverse bird population declines. It galvanizes local organizations to collaborate both together and with the city to identify creative solutions to issues that are impacting birds. It gives us access to a network of many other cities and towns who are either already certified or working on it. So in fact, Nature Canada actually has regular Zoom meetings like this to share activities amongst the teams, share experiences with other teams in other cities. Bird-friendly cities should have some financial benefits, encourages ecotourism, bird watching, another reason for people to come and visit your town. And a bird-friendly city should also have health benefits. It gives people access to, basically the belief is that access to nature impacts physical, mental, and emotional health. I'm sure all of you would agree with that. And as I've mentioned before, birds visible in the city indicate the health of other natural species. And so if we're bird friendly, there's a good chance we're being friendly to other natural species as well. So a little bit about our experience. I'm just cognizant of time, Angie, just make sure I'm not sure how much I meant to check when we started, but I presume I'm good. Okay, I'm okay.
Oh, you're doing great. Yep.
All right.
We're good.
So what is the Sarnia experience? How did we get into this and so on? So, and where are we at? So in 2021, Lambton Wildlife Incorporated made a resolution to form an independent Sarnia bird team. And Lambton Wildlife Incorporated is probably the biggest nature organization in Lambton County, which includes the city of Sarnia and many other surrounding communities in the area. And so that was the starting point in the spring, I guess, of 2021. Right now, we're a team of 10 members with links to various other organizations, Lambton Wildlife, obviously, City of Sarnia. Actually, one of the members of our team is a city employee. Friends of Pinery Park, which is a few miles away from us. Climate Action Sarnia Lambton, the city's Environmental Advisory Committee, Friends of Canatera Park. Canatera Park is one of the great birding areas, especially in the spring and fall for migration. So there's a group struggling right now, but there's a couple of people on our team that are members of the Friends of Canatera, and some who are on the Friends of the St. Clair River group. And also, I'm not sure if anybody is specifically involved in the Raptor Rehab group right now, but they're very closely associated with us. So just a laundry list of things that we've been doing to give you an idea of what it involves. We've been meeting monthly online since August of 2021. We've been endorsed by City Council. We went and asked for endorsement. You know, do you like what we're doing? Are you okay with it? Yes, they were. We've been reaching out through social media. So our link is there if you want to find out more about Bird Friendly Sarnia. You can go on any of the social media and follow us. We selected the city bird of the red-headed woodpecker. And there's a story behind that, but we selected a bird that every city must have a city bird. So we chose the red-headed woodpecker. The city adopted a climate change action plan, as I mentioned before. That's a key element in having compliance with the certification process. And every spring, so 2022 and forward, we've been holding World Migratory Bird Day events. So World Migratory Bird Day is typically the second Saturday of May. And bird teams usually have some sort of events. Might be an educational event. It might be bird watching event. It might be hiking event. We typically have a booth in Canatera Park and invite people to come for the morning. We do kids hikes. We have information there to help people know what's going on and learn more about it. We've been doing education events in the schools. Lambton County and actually the Lambton Kent District School Board and the Catholic School Board have a really unique environment here. They have something called the Science Partnership. And the Science Partnership provides science kits to teachers. I don't think any other school board in the province has anything like this. So for instance, they have something on the order of 600 science kits that a teacher can sign out and it gets delivered to the school, and they can use that kit to supplement their curriculum. All of those kits are focused on a curriculum element that's by grade level. And so you might get a grade 4 kit that has a particular activity. In our case, one of our members has worked with the science partnership to do an actual presentation in classes for grades 3 and 4. She's done about 10, or I think she's done about 10, and I'm sure starting in the fall, there will be many more. And she talks about birds. She talks about some of the things we've been talking about here about the decline in birds. And she actually does a migration simulation in the playground, in which kids see the impact of declining habitat or food or predators or collisions. And they basically simulate what happens when migration is interrupted by those kinds of threats. Lambton Wildlife has annual Christmas bird counts for kids. It's kind of fun. Last year, I think they had about 20 species. Usually 20 or so kids, all armed with binoculars, roaming around the park in small groups looking for birds. Native tree planting, as I say, Climate Action Sarnia Lambton has been doing quite a bit of native tree planting in the Sarnia area. And actually, last spring, the city had a free native tree giveaway. I think they gave out 400 trees, something like that. I might be wrong. We did a review with the city on the bylaws to identify where are we compliant with the certification criteria. That was a fairly intense process to kind of go through every question and say, is there a bylaw somewhere that fits? So a couple of people from staff worked on that. It was quite helpful. We participated in the Canada Day Parade. I'll show you a picture later. As a group, our team marched in the Canada Day Parade. It was fun. We published a roaming cat information brochure. This was designed to try to encourage people to keep their cats indoors and understand the risks that you take when you let your cat outside roaming. There's a booklet that was produced by a group here in town called the Huron Shores Flyway Information Booklet. We've updated that and it's available through our social media now online. The idea was to try, it highlights the importance of Sarnia as a flyway, as part of the migration flyway, and it indicates where you can go and see birds or expect to see birds or hope to see birds and the kind of species. I think it even gives a species list. The Girl Guides placed bird boxes in Dow Wetlands. Dow Wetlands is a large natural area south of town here, and a group of Girl Guides got all hepped up. They worked with someone to build them bird boxes, and then they went out and placed them in Dow Wetlands. They went out last fall and they were quite successful this spring. We've been encouraging people to use bird-friendly window treatment. Lambton Wildlife has a young naturalist program that encourages kids to learn not only about birds, but many other natural programs. Something that we're really excited about is recently the city hired a parkland superintendent. Now, the original request from a number of groups was that they hire a biologist. And the person they hired, their job description is parkland superintendent, but they have substantial background in biology, conservation. And so we're very hopeful that she will bring some good science to decision-making in the city. When they're making decisions about, do we cut trees, how do we change the parkland, we're hoping that this person will bring some really positive conservation and biology science to those decisions. Too often in the past, city actions have been more, cut and hack and convert it to wood chips, and those aren't really the decisions we'd like to see. We've been doing ongoing documentation of our compliance to the bird-friendly city elements, and that one of our team that's his only job in the team, is to do that, is to keep the documentation up to date. Just a few pictures. This is the Girl Guides out at the Dell wetlands with their bird boxes before they went up. Some of them don't look as happy as I was hoping, but they're a nice group of kids. This is the cat brochure that we produced. And again, it focuses on, are cats going to be safe outdoors? What is the risk? And then things that you can do to help. And we've been placing these brochures in veterinary shops and in pet food stores. And we also give them out whenever we have any kind of public event, we have these brochures available. This is some kids from the Lambton Wildlife Young Nats. They're at Lake Chippegan and Canatara Park doing some nature project work there. More smiles there, that's good. And this is from a World Migratory Bird Day event. I guess this was May of 2024. If you look closely in the center there, Lynn Eves is holding a kestrel. And this little guy, unfortunately, I forgot the exact story, but he can't be released. So at this time, Lynn was maintaining him. I'm sure he's been moved to some other location now, but she brought him to World Migratory Bird Day. And we had to keep him in the cabin because the moment she took him outside, the birds around just went ballistic. Just even if he didn't vocalize, the other birds did. It was fun. And he was quite the hit with the kids. I don't think any of the kids who came and looked up, for that matter, the parents had ever seen a kestrel, let alone see a kestrel up close. And they're a very pretty bird to see up close. So we chose an official bird, as I mentioned before, the red-headed woodpecker. So this was our banner that we produced to publicize the bird. And this is the parade, including yours truly on the right. We even had t-shirts. Not shown here, a couple of our walkers had bird costumes. So we had a cardinal and we had some sort of hawk. It was a pretty hot day, July 1st this year. I don't know how they made it through that walk in their costumes, but I tell you, the cardinal and the hawk were a great attraction. A lot of kids, hey, look at the cardinal. It was better than doing a handout, if you want to know the truth. We're not allowed to do handouts anymore, but just having the birds in the parade was great publicity. So for Sarnia, we're certified at the entry level. So in 2024, in the fall, we applied and they came back and said, you're at entry level. We completed the 7 mandatory tasks, and then you can see the scores that we achieved there in each of the sections. It's not stellar, but it's entry level and it leaves us lots of room to improve. And so what's next for us is to increase the partner group participation and their action focus, encouraging the city to create and strengthen policies and bylaws. We're really going to have to target in and say, this cat bylaw is great as far as it goes, but it doesn't go very far. So let's make some improvement. And there's many other bylaws that need help. And I think also the city is going to have to start taking action on their climate change action plan. Right now, the climate change action plan is a plan, doesn't have many actions. So we're going to have to help them think about that too. We'll continue working on community awareness and outreach, engaging the community both in education and encouraging them to do things like put up bird-friendly window treatments and keep their cats indoors and many other activities. We'll be working on identifying evidence and actions to close gaps in the certification criteria. And we have to be recertified in the fall of 2027. So we need to maintain and improve our compliance for that. So just to wrap up, how can you participate? if you don't already have a bird-friendly city bird team in your municipality, think about having one, forming one. If there is one, at least follow them on social media and participate in bird-friendly city events, and encourage other citizen groups to undertake a bird-friendly project. So if there's a bird-friendly city team, get the local nature group or the gardeners group or some other nature group in the city or in the town to undertake a project that's consistent with bird friendly. And also, if your town has climate change action plans, support and encourage the city or municipality to actually undertake actions that will achieve those plans and be consistent with the climate change action plan that they have. From a personal point of view, think about installing window collision protection. We have a couple of businesses in Sarnia who've already done that. We've had quite a few individual families who've done it. There's various options for it, and there's lots of good information. I think FLAP Canada is probably the best resource for window collision information. Reduce light pollution, especially in spring and fall around your own home. Excuse me. Keep domestic cats indoors or unrestrained. Reduce, eliminate non-essential pesticide use, and plant native plants, trees, and shrubs. All of these things are actions that are consistent with bird-friendly cities. And let your bird team know what you're doing so that they can take credit for that. It's great that you're doing it, but if we don't know about it, then we can't tell Nature Canada, look, here's all the folks that are participating in this really great action. So if you put up window collision protection, let us know. So that's the end of the formal presentation. If you have questions, I'll be happy to do so. And I hope I'm okay for time.
Perfect. And thank you so much. That was very interesting. And I was just starting to think about my own community if something could ever happen here. But I want to know how you chose the red-headed woodpecker for Sarnia.
Yeah, so the social media guru for our team, I think he put out a list of possible birds, which included red-headed woodpecker. And the reason red-headed woodpecker was there in the first place is that red-headed woodpeckers do nest, and they have nested for years in Canatera Park. And they nest in other areas around the city, one or two other areas around the city, and also up the lake at Port Franks and other locations. So Port Franks isn't part of the city, but that doesn't matter. So they put a list out on, and that went out on social media, and it was voted on social media. So there was a list of, I think, half a dozen birds, and people were asked to vote on it. And it was through social media votes that red-headed woodpecker ended up with the biggest list. Now, some teams have used much more sophisticated tactics. They've gone out and done a preliminary poll and identified sort of a short list, and then done quite a bit more publicity, and then narrowed the poll down to, let's say, 3, and then had a final runoff based on the final 3. So I think in Windsor, the bird is the, oh, escaped me for a minute, titmouse, that's it. I believe Windsor, the Windsor bird is the titmouse, and every city has one. And they might be the same one city to the next, they might be totally different. And some are more commonly seen, well-known birds. Others are like in our case, they're somewhat rare. And the really unfortunate thing is, shortly after we named the bird the city bird, the dead trees in Canatera Park where the red-headed woodpecker was nesting were cut down because of safety concerns. So
Oh,
it was
yeah.
very frustrating.
Have they come back?
They've been seen in the city, yes. I know I know there was a nesting pair out, not down in Canatera Park, but elsewhere. They've been seen around occasionally.
Okay. Wow. Well, it's a lovely bird for a city bird.
It is. It's
Oh, yeah. Awesome. Does anyone have questions about this? If I were going to start, oh, Bev, I'll let you go ahead, Bev.
Oh, okay, it's a bit of an abstract question, so maybe you should go ahead, but I'll ask it anyway. I'm just curious if you can say more about how it worked with the city council and how easy it was to get their buy-in and whether there was resistance and how important buy-in of the city council was in order to get the certification. I find it really like Nature Canada having almost a quasi-regulatory role in the certification because of the continuing need to report and whatnot. So it's quite fascinating to see how it might work with a city council.
the short answer, it's not easy.
Okay.
And it depends somewhat on the individual councillors and and for that matter, the mayor. Our mayor has been very supportive. He showed up at World Migratory Bird Day events almost every year. He unveiled the city bird. And the initial endorsement that we got was basically, yes, this is a valid thing to work on, a good thing to work on. And it did not, it was a fairly simple motion to put before the city. Now then, when we started saying to the staff, how do we rank, like, how do we stack up on these certification criteria?
Yeah.
That was a long drawn out process too. We had to find the right people to talk to, get someone who would be our spokesman with the staff. And actually then she actually sat down with one or two others and went through the bylaws, went through the certification criteria and said, okay, 3.1, that fits with bylaw XYZ. So here's what's in place. And we were able to say, here's what's in place. If we hadn't been able to do that, it was very helpful for that person to help us with that audit. The next step of saying, what do we want? What would we like you to do differently? Getting that kind of support is going to be trickier. Now, I will say that I think some other cities have been very successful. London, I would say, has been pretty successful. Toronto actually has bird-friendly development guidelines, if you can believe it.
Right. Yep.
And they're not necessarily baked in. And the other issue is that the whole mechanism for building codes has been changing. So is it a provincial code? Is it, to what extent can the city influence that? So it's a very complex topic, but it's not easy.
No. Okay. Thank you. Appreciate
that's where, if you have a bird team, you can link in with other bird teams and see what they're doing, right? And talk about how they're doing it. Halton region, I know, not Halton, Peel region, I think it is. Some of those other locations they're working really hard with. And some of them have, there's some teams where the bird team is driven quite hard by someone who's, let's say, on the city advisory, one of the city advisory committees.
Okay,
right?
well, that's good. Yeah.
So, if you can form, if it's especially in a small municipality, if you can form a small committee within that's nominated by the city, and then focus them on bird-friendly activity, that would be helpful too.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, lots to think about, really. Lots to think about. You guys have.
When I saw the original criteria, I was sort of overwhelmed, right? There's there's 50 questions here that aren't going to be answered easily, right? So
Very daunting, isn't it?
it is. It is.
Yeah. Goodness, I'm just trying to picture my own town. I'm the only birder.
Oh, sure.
Not entirely, but yeah, kind of.
Yeah. So you have, like, we're not necessarily birders, but you have to gather people who have a concern for nature, for the environment, for species, that kind of thing. And it's hard to find those people.
I think a lot of people, like in my community, are sort of interested in conservation because hunting and fishing are such a big thing here too.
Sure.
And most people respect the fact that they're going to lose that if, you know, if they're damaging the environment, if they're not conserving the environment.
Right.
So there's definitely, and they know, like, they see birds, right? They're always, people everywhere I go, people are asking me, I saw this bird, what's, they see them, they just don't know what they are.
No. And so just part of the education and outreach is just getting people to actually see birds and look at them. Mountain Wildlife actually had a donation from one of the companies in Sarnia who bought them 20 pairs of binoculars, which we pull out every time there's a hike or a World Migratory Bird Day. We have those binoculars available to us so we can give to people and say, now go look at birds and see what you see. Because what you can see with binoculars, even an inexpensive pair of binoculars, you can get a much better appreciation of the detail and beauty of birds.
Yeah, it becomes very personal
Yeah.
when you look really close. Does anybody else have questions or comments or? No? I think we all have a lot to chew on right now.
Okay.
Yeah. So the convention for OFO is in Sarnia. Go check it out, Bird Friendly. And if you want to go north, come and join us in New Liskeard area, which is sort of bird friendly, but I don't think it's certified yet. But Hillerton Marsh certainly is quite a gem. And other than that, I'm going to say thank you to John, and thank you everybody for joining us. And this will be uploaded to YouTube probably within a week or so. Pass it along to anybody and use it in your own journey towards bird-friendly certification. This video could be a resource for everybody on that. So,
okay.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Well
Well done.
yeah.
Thank you for having me.
And good night. I'll stick around for a couple minutes, but yeah, good night.
I'll say goodnight. I'm gonna go look for that Lister's film on YouTube and watch it.
Yeah, I want to watch it too. Sure.
Bye-bye. Thanks a lot for Angie for doing this. Bye.
See you out there. Bye-bye.